What up, y'all? DCFAYGOGUY. Today, we are going to be taking a look at the Underground Avengers Anomolly 88. So, this album is totally the shit. They've done something very amazing, and I say amazing because what they've done is they've taken this album and the original EP, or more so, I should say, the Apollyon edition of the original EP. They've linked them together. They've told a pretty cool story through skits and everything. Totally blown away. I think it's totally awesome what they've done here. We will get into that just a little bit more as we go over the tracks. So let's jump right into this. This is the alternate cover, the Villains cover as they called it. I know this caused some confusion. I saw on Instagram when people started to see this cover showing up from Attack of the Ninjas. Everybody was like, is this supposed to be the Villains cover? Obviously, you know, Hulk, Iron Man, and Captain America, they're not villains. So for the Underground Avengers to be portraying villains, yet they're playing these characters, it kind of throws everything off just a little bit. There is mentions in the intro to this, or I should say, I believe it was in the intro. It wasn't in the intro. It was in the second track. It was in the second track. We'll get to the name of that real quick. There's something mentioned in there about the last album, 2012 is what they talk about. And they talk about the government labeling them as villains. So that's kind of maybe where the concept of this being the Villains cover, maybe to cleverly hide the fact that you know, they went under the radar with Marvel and went ahead and portrayed these characters again. Of course, everybody knows the Apollyon edition had this cover right here, and we're under the assumption got flagged for the copyright imagery because the Apollyon edition is no longer available. For whatever reason, the regular cover as well is no longer available. Don't understand why that one isn't after listening to this. So hopefully maybe it was just a promotional gimmick to help sales for this. I know that's somewhat dirty, but on the same hand, I don't know, I probably maybe would have done the same thing, not gonna lie. But this right here is helped tied in because of that one part where it says that the government labeled them as villains. Because if you guys remember from my EP review of the first EP, you know, they were portrayed as these characters here, but obviously it got pulled because of copyright. So to have them portrayed in this of that original same album as villains, you see what I'm saying? It kind of helps piece together and make everything kind of look. In our eyes, they're heroes. In everybody else's eyes, they're villains. Make sense? I've done 3 minutes of rambling about that cool little concept. Let's jump right into this. Again, that is the front. This is the alternate cover. There is a regular cover. Maybe I'll flash the image real quick of the regular cover. I don't know, I feel like I'm trying to decide if I want to pick up the regular cover to have for the collection's sake, because, you know, as you can see here, this doesn't really blend well with this, but then once we open it up, it would blend well with the rest of the album. So I'm not sure yet if I will or not. Don't fully know. Pop the disc up. There you have the Magic Ninja there. This right here is not a book. This is just a little fold out like that, with all the tracks and their credits. A majority of this album was produced by Seven. Seven is a beast of a producer, so that's why a lot of these tracks were very enjoyable for me, because he's just really good at fucking producing. Flip it over to the back with the track list and this dope image of the Infinity Gauntlet holding this thorned mic. That's pretty dope. The track list, which is Anomolly 88.
Seeing what I'm seeing right now?
This can't even be right. Can it?
Look at the parallels. This is the exact same reading we got back in August 2012.
The Rising.
We back, about to put them in the spotlight. About time these motherfuckers got it right. It's the return of the Underground Avengers.
Killer Instinct.
Talk a big game, but they never bust back. You don't want the hunter reaching for his gun, right? Pull up on them hoes, pull up on them hoes, pull up on them hoes, pull up on them hoes. Pop, 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 pop.
Bring the Blood.
Coming for them one by one. Right. You think I'm on a mission? Nah, I'm just having fun. See these salty bitches, they just need a hug. They just want attention.
Yeti Cup.
I'll never have enough liquor in my Yeti cup.
Vodka in my Yeti cup. Whiskey in my Yeti cup, drunk and I don't give a fuck. Miss me with that other stuff.
My room.
This is my room, can I bring them all to me? The motherfucker on this earth that's safe. With no room inside my mind.
Hold on.
I know the night's so long, be strong and fight. You got to hold on. I can feel it coming in the air.
Massacre.
Tonight's top story is the infamous and what the media have now nicknamed the Algedonic murders. What seemed to start off as a bizarre and random act of violence.
Algedonic.
That's the moment this began. Only one to blame is you. Keep fucking with my patience. Ain't no telling what I'm gonna do.
Calm down.
Handle my aggression like I'm signing up for cable. Bitch, you know the beast is not a fable. Let's go. Yeah. All these people trying to top my best. Top my best. But I...
Massagel.
Hello.
Sir, this is Cameron Isaacs with Alpha Station Zeta and lead...
Goodfellas.
Got these haters getting jealous. Man, I took my shot and ran like Jerome Bettis.
100 grand, I ain't much. One phone call, you can get touched.
Strangar.
Gonna keep mashing on these bastards till the game is won.
Enemies.
Now I'm a monster, I've been a monster, I've been in denial. The only thing keeping me centered, the only thing giving me peace was your smile. Was it all worth my while? The road that I took, every step in front of me.
Thanos.
We've been doing this, wow. Better tell them, buck, buck, buck. They say totem pole done overdosed. He's going broke, he's overboard. Word on the low from so-and-so. He snorting coke and blow.
And Finn.
Greetings, Earthlings. The planet I am from is in another dimension and cannot even be reached by your kind. So explaining that to you would be a waste of both of our...
So, Anomolly 88, Massacre, and Finn. Those are more or less the skits throughout the album that kind of tells the story of Anomolly 88. Okay? Track-wise, The Rising, killer. Absolutely killer. Of course, this kind of tells, like I said, that's the track that talks about in 2012 them being labeled as villains by the U.S. government, and you know, then it talks about a new coming threat and that they must rise again, and it does the whole underground Avengers assemble. You know, you hear the Iron Man suit coming on from the Iron Man movie, and then it just let it begin, and fuck it right into the beat.
Let it begin.
I don't play well with others.
Absolutely great way to start the album. That shit had me fucking hype. Every time I play it, it has me hype when that happens. Let it begin, and then the beat just starts, and you just like, hell yeah, dude, we're in for a ride here. Killer Instinct was more or less the single that they released well in advance before this album was really fully even announced. So. Now, Bring the Blood, Calm Down, and Enemies. These are basically the three solo tracks. Bring the Blood is a Buckshot track, Calm Down is a Clash track, and Enemies is a Boondocks track. They all had more or less their own little solo track throughout this, which I think is really cool because kind of what I was saying in the Underground Avengers EP review. Not that review, I'm sorry. It was in the future of the Underground Avengers. In that video, I talked about something cool that they should do in the future is drop little EPs individually and then drop an Underground Avengers album. And kind of by doing these tracks, they've kind of sort of done that on this album. So that was kind of cool the way they did that. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Bring the Blood, not bad. Again, like I stated in my unboxing of the Apollyon edition of the EP, I'm not a huge fan of Buckshot when he's solo. I don't know what it is. I'm just not. I don't fully know what it is that's not clicking for me with him. Yeti Cup, banging track, pretty dope. I mean, Boondocks easily had the best verse on this. So after Yeti Cup, the album kind of takes a change. You get My Room, Algedonic, Goodfellas, Strangar. Those are kind of like wicked shit tracks, like just really dark beats and just some wicked shit kind of tracks. Totally surprised me. I didn't quite expect that with this album. Hold On is a great cover, another great cover. That seems to be the Underground Avengers thing to do, because in the first album they did Simple Man. They then did on the Wormwood tour, tour exclusive CD that then was put onto the Apollyon edition of the EP. You also had Don't Stop, a cover of Journey's Don't Stop Believin', and now you have Hold On, which is a cover of Phil Collins. So all three of them are great. That seems to be their niche, is doing great covers like that. Goodfellas is dope. It has Stevie Stone on the hook. Love the way he killed that hook. Kind of wish he had a verse instead of just the chorus. And Strangar, you had Young Wicked doing the hook. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Is it Strangar or Strangar? I don't know. I'm saying Strangar. I'm sticking with that. That seems like the best. The way Young Wicked did the hook, he gave me some Cess Crew vibes off of the American Horror Story track they did on the first volume of Strangulation.
Psycho man, I've been gone. Pipe bomb in the trench on. In the dark with the dead off.
Gotta protect the king. Follow a black choke gun.
I don't know. He was just doing something that gave me vibes of Cess Crew, and it made me kind of wish Cess Crew was on this album. I feel like that was somebody missing on here. Whether it should have just been Ubiquitous or both Gadamus and Ubiquitous as Cess Crew. I don't know. I was just kind of, it made me vibe and crave that on this album. Enemy is another great, deep, meaningful track from Boondocks. He's notorious for those. And then of course the Beast Cypher posse track, I guess you could call it. I wouldn't call it a posse track. I didn't have everybody from the label. Just a Beast track again with features from everybody. They were all really dope the way that they were spit. Everybody just killed it on this track. Dope track, dope track. Really, really wish Light would have stayed on it. I would love to have heard what he would have spit for it. So if by some chance you are watching this, Light, you should just drop like a single and have it be like whatever verse you would have wrote. Just listen to the song and then just write a verse and just release it. Just like, oh, this is what the track would have sounded like with my verse. That'd be pretty dope. So the thing we got to talk about with this album, we got to talk about the skits, we got to talk about the story, the theme of it with Anomolly 88. So basically you have this signal that is sent to Earth, and these guys are decoding it, and it turns out that there's a message sent that just repeats Anomolly 88, Anomolly 88, Anomolly 88. And of course they don't know what the fuck, you know. Obviously it's some kind of a space invader alien life form of some kind making contact. So they run tests on the signal to try to figure out its source. Then they have another signal come through, and by the end of the album they finally got that translated, and it basically is a being known as Apollyon. And he mentions three beings on Earth. He represents the three beings, or he represents the signal simply named Apollyon, and it is made up of three individuals who are at the moment on Earth. And basically that they are there for a mission, and that they should be left alone. The government should not try to approach them, that they have a mission to do, and when they are done with their mission, they will leave the Earth peacefully. But if they are engaged, there will be dire consequences. And basically leaves off with that. So that is the overall skits and story of this album. So, absolutely dope. Now to find out how that ties to this one, the being, or the signal is known as Apollyon. We have an Apollyon edition of the original album. So there's something key in this one that ties the two together. In order to talk about that, we got to drop a review for this. I've already done that review. If you would like to watch it, stick around to the end to click the link to see it. Otherwise, that review will be dropped in a few more days. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys watch it now if you want to. The link will come up at the end of the video, at the end of this review right now, or simply just wait a few more days for the review to go live. But all in all, absolutely love it. I will admit that when I first listened to it, it took me a minute. I've been vibing a lot to Zug Island, so when I listened to this, I had to get more, I had to pull out of that rock mode and get back into rap mode for a little bit. It didn't take too long, and I'm vibing to this shit. And I love, again, absolutely love the story being told here. I didn't even say what my favorite tracks are. My favorite tracks are The Rising, Killer Instinct, Hold On, My Room, Algedonic, Calm Down, dude. Out of all three of the solo tracks, Calm Down. Class fucking murdered it on that track. Murdered it. So, I don't think I mentioned Messa Jewel was also a skit. I didn't mention that earlier. So, yeah. Anyway, favorite tracks. The Rising, Killer Instinct, My Room, Hold On, Algedonic, Calm Down, Enemies, and Goodfellas. Those are my favorite tracks, standout tracks. Thanos is good. It's just, you know, with so many people being a lengthy song, it's not my go-to track on this album. So those ones are my favorites. Absolutely think this is worth picking up. If you do have the original EP, definitely, you probably already got this. If you don't, if you haven't really listened to the Underground Avengers and you weren't able to get this and they don't release the other cover, then you can still get the EP, the original EP. It's still over on Mob Style Music. I would recommend doing so because the Underground Avengers is a dope little concept, dope little group that has been put together, and I would like to see more in the future. I know Boondocks has expressed he will probably take a long hiatus. One thing I think would be pretty dope, and it could make for a good concept for the album, is to bring on some other people to become Underground Avengers. There's no reason Crucifix couldn't. He's been on multiple tracks now at this point for the Underground Avengers. There's no reason at all why Jelly Roll shouldn't be. And in fact, when we do this review, I'll point that out because of one of the tracks on there. He actually mentions being an unofficial member. There's no reason Jelly Roll shouldn't be, and I'd like to see Kung Fu Vampire become a member. So there's 3 people they could potentially add as Underground Avengers and make the album be something happens to Boondocks and they gotta go get him. And just have like maybe 1 or 2 tracks featuring Boondocks, and then the rest of the album be them trying to go get him and save him. And then from there, they could do a 4th album where they finally find him. You see where I'm going with this? Ideas. I got ideas. Anyway, we've done a very, very long review here. I'm going to go ahead and end this here. I think this is a great album. Highly worth picking up, especially if you are a fan of Boondocks, especially if you are a fan of Buckshot, especially if you are a fan of Class. Give them a try if you've never heard them. It's worth it. It's worth it. Dope album, great concept here that they've done. So, again, if you would like to see the review for the Apollyon edition of the EP, that link should be going up right now. Otherwise, you can wait a few days and see it go live when it finally goes public. So, thank you guys for watching. Leave your thoughts down below if you listen to the album. Tell me your favorite tracks, and I'll see you guys next time.